Using your imagination. That might hurt.
These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. These brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Paul with Spheric Reptiles, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I got on my US Ark shirt. I definitely want you guys to go out and support US Ark and joining with a membership. They start at $40 for the year. And then as you go on, you can get different levels, but at least that initial $40 investment in your ability to keep reptiles will be very great. I thought that was good for me. I really wanted to put that out there because you don't really know how many factors are working against us to actually keep our reptiles. So we have to actively work with the organizations that are helping to support us and writing your state senators and things like that, or your representatives, just on how much you want to keep your reptiles. But anyway, so let me know what you think about this. I'm gonna put that out there up front. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, that will be letting me know what you think. Using your imagination when you're breeding your ball pythons. I think that's a very good thing to think about right now. And we look at where we are in the economy as far as inflation, recession, whatever you call it, waiting for this upcoming election. So everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen, if they're going to have more buying power or less buying power. But at the end of the day, a ball python market is still out there. I've been tracking it for the last 2 years very, very strongly. And there's been like a small hiccup in the number of ball pythons that are being offered. In fact, there's more options and different ways to buy ball pythons now. So I'm going to give kudos to Morph Market. They are actually the #1 selling platform for reptiles in the world, especially in America, but definitely in the world. But if we think of now, we have auctions. We got different ways to pay immediately with Square and things like that. So, and there's also sales that are offered. There's so many different ways that people are getting their reptiles. But when we look at reptiles in particular, I want you guys to look at this one slide. So what does the market look like as of June 22nd, 2024 on Morph Market? So ball pythons represent 31,354 that are sold today when I'm making this video, which is a Saturday before it comes out. Crested geckos are 6,228. Boa constrictors are 3,698. Leopard geckos, they're more than you think. 1,936 reticulated pythons are right at an even 1,000. That's going to go up or down today. Bearded dragons are 480. And that really surprised me when I thought about where bearded dragons were, because they can have multiple clutches during the year. And so I would have expected that number to be higher, but it seems like those breeders are actually making sure that their supply stays low so that the demand stays high, which is great, which, you know, I don't know if ball python breeders could do that, because ball pythons represent the lion's share of the market. So those reptiles were just the ones that I picked. I know everybody knows about them. I didn't pick the smaller ones or the ones that are more specialized or something like that, or even the tortoises on there. But I just wanted you guys to get a good picture of what the market actually looks like as of today in 2024. So about the halfway point, almost the 4th of July. Where are we? A lot of people are getting their first clutches hatched right now. And notice that at the shows earlier in the year, there's a smaller amount that there are really leftovers from the year before for a lot of people. But these fall shows are where most of the people have their hatchlings and stuff like that. They've had a chance to grow them up a little bit, get some meals in them, so that they can bring them to you in all their splendor. But now we're going to look at a different slide. And this one represents ball pythons, basically the market leader for reptiles and where they are in the world. So worldwide, there are 40,669, and the U.S. owns 31,354 of those being sold today, which represents 77.1%. So, hey guys, that's a lot. That's a lot of ball pythons. It might just be that it's easier for people to get ball pythons, or people have the monies that are more readily available here in the U.S. for ball pythons or reptiles in general. But that's not to say that people in other countries, because they do. They have elaborate bioactives and ways, enclosures to take care of your reptiles. And there are some very big and prominent breeders worldwide that are not in the U.S. So what can we do to use our imagination? Because it's all about using your imagination, and the shit might actually hurt. It might feel good too. I mean, who knows? Who knows what you're into? But what I recommend you to do is to use a blue ocean strategy and to think outside of the box. So first, I've identified just 5 of the traits that are the most prominent, 5 that are maybe up and coming, but they're still lesser. It might be because of the price, because of supply and demand, and or it just might be because people just can't get to them, can't get them. I mean, the people that are breeding these animals, they may not be releasing as many clutches. They might be trying to get as much as they can get out of it before they release these hatchlings to the public. So, and that's starting off with the clown ball python, the piebald, the hypo, the desert ghost, and the albino or albino, as they said, from across the pond. So those are the most common. So if you're trying to think outside of the box and you're including those, not to say that you're not doing anything good, but you should actually start maybe looking at some other recessives to add in with those, or to look at those other projects if you're just now starting out, just to think about it. And so I'll name off a couple of them. So I'm going to start off with, and these are in no particular order, but Zebra, the Monsoon, the Moray, the Tri-Stripe, and the Black Lace. I had to look. So I got my chart over here, which I'm trying not to look at as much, but when you look on Morph Market, you don't find these traits or these recessive traits, because there are recessive traits in high numbers. So you always see them, and they're in a smaller number, and the price might dictate that. But at the end of the day, shortage of supply, so there's a higher demand. So that would help you to create a larger slice of the pie for that market if we consider the entire ball python market and saying that each one of the pattern morphs or recessive traits owns a particular segment of that market or that pie. And so that's something that you can think about. For the final part, because I want this video to be short, I'm really trying to share with you on how I'm using my imagination. So just thinking outside of the box. And I still can't get over how when I first got into the industry, and I think about Miguel with Always Evolving Python and some of the advice that he is open about, that he basically got in the very beginning, that just was not very conducive to having a successful ball python business. So when I think about that, I just really always wondered why when I was first getting in, people said, hey, start off with your females and grow them up. I mean, that just makes no sense to me. So you want me to start a business or to start a breeding project as a hobby and get my females and say, you know, I'm going to hold off everything for the next 2.5 years. And inevitably, when we first started out, that's what we did. So some of those females are up to size now, and they're breeding this season for us finally. But what I would say is to always question any type of advice that you get, even mine. Make sure that the numbers line up with what you really can see and prove. So what I would suggest is still go out and get your incomplete dominant, like stacked incomplete dominant traits. They might be hep for something, but you really want to get those incomplete dominant traits for subadult to breeder size females. So you want a female that you can basically put into production within 8 months. So that would be the difference in waiting 2 and 2.5 years or 8 months. So if you can get a breeder female, you might spend a little bit more, but what you spend more of, you save in time. So you got to weigh that investment out with your pocketbook and see what's better for you. But I really think that if this is what you're trying to do and you're trying to make something new and unique, waiting for it isn't going to help you any, because inevitably someone else will come up with that idea as well. And on the flip side, so we talked about our females, but with the males, you can get a hatchling, and for whatever reason, males are less expensive, which to me makes no sense, because the female can only have 1 clutch of eggs, 1. So they can either have, well, I think the smallest number would be like 2 viable eggs, all the way up to 11 or 12 or 13 in some of the extremely large clutches, and they can all be fertile, but that's just 1 clutch, so 2 to 13. That male can go to 4 to 5 females in a season, so you can multiply that 2 to 13 times that, and so it's a multiplier factor, which is why I say if you get that male, even as a hatchling, within a year, that male can be into production for helping to produce offspring. I mean, this is just simple economics, right? So like if you were farming cattle, you wouldn't want to buy, you know, a calf female or heifer. You would want to get an adult heifer if you could, and then get a younger bull, because that younger bull, by the time it's breeding season, that younger bull is ready to go, and the females are already ready. They're already acclimated, because they're the ones, yeah, women determine, the females determine how long the copulation lasts, when they're going to produce follicles, if those follicles make it to the end stage, and when they actually lay. So since everything else is up to the females, I think that it's best if you get those females, just using your imagination, just hear me out. Use your imagination, get those breeder females, and then you have a chance to acclimate them to your environment so that they feel comfortable and they are open and receptive to that male, because the male's going to be happy no matter what. Once you put them in there, some tail wagging might start, the cord might start, they might start running around or whatever. Ultimately, they could end up tied up, and boom, that's it. That's the beginning of the end stages of the final result of producing viable clutches. So that's the way that I think. This is just my opinion. This is something that I really feel strongly about. And it seems like when I tracked it, I save a little bit more money in doing that and getting the incomplete dominant adult females and the powerhouse visual recessive males. And I just pair them up to each one. And that way I end up with hets that are not just hypo, clown pied, desert ghost, exantic. I end up with a bamboo clown pied or head clown pied or something, but you know what I'm talking about. But either way, guys, I thank you so much for tuning into this. And I hope that you're having a great weekend. Since I'm making this on a Saturday, I'm actually off work. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. But I actually want your comments. I want you to like and subscribe to this video, like I said, if you choose, because this is just made for you. I don't know if YouTube algorithm likes it or not, but either way, I think it's something that could be said. And that's why I watch everybody else's videos as well. And last thing, enjoy the time that you spend with your reptiles, and enjoy the time that you have with your families. Thank you.